Lifehacker, can you do this for me? Oh, yeah, sure. Oh, can you do this too? Hey, I know you're really good at doing these kinds of things. Can you do this for me too? Oh, yes, of course. I'd love to. Do I really, though? Have I become a pushover? Well, let's answer that question together. So we're gonna go over, are you being a pushover? Symptoms of being a pushover, potentially. So keep in mind that what I'm gonna be sharing with you guys is from personal experience, from what I've heard from others, from what I've witnessed from others, things that just you observe. And so if you share in these thoughts or have other thoughts on this matter of being a pushover, please do share it in the comments below to help out others, because that's the point of my channel, of this channel, this community, and of the comment section and of this video, because the point is to help each other grow and to kind of more so find unity in everything that makes us us. So humans, inevitably, we make mistakes, and that is, it's cute because someone had recently told me that mistakes are happy accidents, and they heard it from somewhere. But I like that quote because it's true. It's things that you do that you realize, oh, I guess that didn't work out so well, maybe I shouldn't do that again. So when you call something a mistake, it's often because you do something and the result isn't what you expected. But things go on, you move forward, you learn from them, and then you keep growing. So that is the same to go, that is to go with being a pushover. So I've made many of those mistakes of falling into nice, pushover, go back to the nice. So my scale in my head, my internal like radar for when I'm being pushover is going off, the alarm's going doo. So I will be sharing with you guys what helped me realize what that doo part is. So I made a list just to make sure I covered everything with you guys. That's right, it's going to be the exhaustive list. And also I have other videos on pushover and being too nice. This is a big thing for me, so I will be sharing a lot. And I'll put the videos in the link below, in the description box. I'll put the videos so you can see that. Now, have you ever felt that you had to prove your value? So someone asks you to do something, for example, like say it's at work, and they ask you, hey, can you take on this project? You're overloaded with projects, but you feel that, oh, you know, I have to prove myself. I'm new here, I really gotta do all this. So, I mean, you understand, hopefully you'll get a feel of what's appropriate for you to take on being new and all that. Sometimes you may fall into the rut of you take on too much because people ask you to do things, and sometimes people may think, oh, well, they're new, so they'll probably be more willing to do this work. Oh, they're new, so they don't know what the rules are, so I will give them this work. I don't want to do it. I mean, not everyone thinks like that, but there are times where people may think like that, and they may not even realize it. So that's why it's really important that you set your boundaries to help them realize that, oh, you know, that's not appropriate. You can't do that. You're setting rules for yourself and for them to keep a very good relation in the work field. Because say, for example, that you take on all this work that they give you, and then they keep asking you to do more, and then one day you're like, no, I really don't want to. Or it builds up to the point that you blast off on them and you lose control of your emotions or what have you, and then they'll be like, no matter how much work you did for them, they might fall into, what, the beep? What is with this beep? And then things may go not wrong. I haven't personally, fortunately, haven't fallen into that, but I know of cases like that. And it's because of what I've heard from others that it helps me keep cognizant of not falling into that. And so the other thing is you don't keep limits. And it's the same as boundaries, similar to boundaries, where you blur your own boundaries. You may think, okay, I won't take on this because I can't handle it. But then someone, say for example, someone is very, very like persistent, and they ask you, please, 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 please do this for me. Then you may feel like, I feel bad, I have to do it. Never should we do things because we feel bad. I would not, and I do not want my friends or my colleagues to do things because they feel bad. Because you're not doing that from your heart. You're not thinking well of the person who you're doing it for, potentially. Because, say for example, if I ask something of my friends and they really don't want to do it, but they're like, okay, fine. They'll just be like, oh yeah, sure, I'll do it. But in their head, they're thinking, why is she making me do this? I'm busy with all this stuff. She knows I'm busy with this. And the thing is that, or at least typically you would hope that people will voice when they can't do something, because that also builds the trust you have with that person. So if I've asked something of my friend and they say, oh sure, but they really, really, really resent doing that, and then they resent me for doing it later and get mad so subtly, then it's gonna be a little bit harder. Implicitly, you may not realize it directly, but you may start feeling like, oh, for you who had asked a favor of your friend and who your friend got upset internally at you, you might start thinking like, oh, why are they ignoring my calls? Why are they ignoring me? Why are they blowing me off with things? And then you start getting upset at them, but you also think like, oh, you know, were they upset at me because of this? Like, why didn't they say something? And then internally you might start losing trust in them. And that can be a potential break in both of your relationships. And so it's very important that you say directly what you can and cannot take on, because we trust each other to know our own worth, know our own boundaries, know what's going on. And if you keep taking on things, people may not say it, but they might think like, oh, does this person really know what's going on? Do they have anything going on? Oddly enough, the value of your relationship, or the value people put to you, which sounds funny, I know, but if you think really, really deep on it, this could be a thing where people may start thinking like, oh, like this person doesn't really value themselves. They just take on a bunch of things and they can't handle it. They don't know their threshold, or they don't know how to say no. Like, they don't know their own self-worth. I mean, people won't directly say that, but again, if you think deeply about it, that can be like a relationship. I mean, just something that you associate characteristics with the person if they keep saying yes, yes, yes to everything. And another thing is they may become very flaky because they take on so much that they stretch themselves too thin and they can't do it all. And I've known a lot of professors who have experienced this, where they take on too much projects. They have their students to help, but then they take on a lot of research projects and side extracurricular stuff, help with other schools, do guest speaker for these places, and they're like everywhere. And so sometimes they'll get feedback saying like, you don't respond to your emails very quickly, you're not very responsive, you don't communicate well, you don't really go through all my edits, it doesn't look like you pay attention to my work. So something's gonna take a hit. So you have to be very careful that you're not stretching yourself too thin. And then you're not as happy when you do something. So you know how I mentioned that, like, if you ask a friend and a friend says yes, but they really don't want to do it, and then they start feeling upset and you don't know why they're upset at you. That's the thing, where they may take on things that they really don't want to take on, and then they start feeling unhappy, and they don't know why they're feeling unhappy. So Also, we have the yes syndrome, and it's kind of like the, what was it, Enchanted movie, where they're always saying yes, 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 yes to everything. And then you give up important things. So your family might think you're flaky, for one, because maybe you made commitments to your family. Say, for example, you're supposed to go to your kid's birthday party or a friend's birthday party, and then you show up late. You don't show up. Something came up. You had not necessarily just for work where you had projects, but you had taken on too much from others, or you're over helping someone with something else. A lot of things can go on. Now, it always is important to remember, check in with how you're feeling. Does this make you happy? Are you doing this out of the kindness of your heart? Are you doing this because you actually care? Or are you doing this because you feel bad, because you feel obligated? Those are very, very important things to keep in mind, guys, that you take care of yourself, and taking care of yourself doesn't just mean physically and what's the other ones? Mentally? Doesn't just mean physically. It means in all ways that you're taking care of yourself, including by setting boundaries and holding to those boundaries. Alright, so I will talk to you guys later. Please do like and subscribe to our OT Life Hacker channel. Woohoo!